All right, folks, welcome back to another fantastic edition of Opali Presents Know Your Pros. And today's guest, we have Michael Benton of Gateway Restoration. And Gateway, of course, is a restoration business based in Mesa, Arizona, but they serve the Phoenix Valley at large. They are minimizing the heartache of disaster and providing services for folks who are experiencing water, fire, and mold emergencies. Michael, man, it is a pleasure to have you, my friend.
Hey, I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show there, Henry.
Michael, I'm stoked to chat with you, dude. And for those who are, know your pros fanatics, know your pros heads, we've got to come up with something to talk or describe our disciples of Know Your Pros. But
Yeah.
those people who are Know Your Pros fans know that I talk to restoration businesses a lot. Not only does Opal work with restoration businesses, but restoration companies often have a tougher time differentiating themselves just because when people think disaster, they think, well, gosh, I got to call somebody immediately. And I want to help you and your business set yourselves apart, which is why I wanted to come on here and ask you, like, why was it that you decided to join Gateway in the first place? What kind of led to that for you personally, Mike?
Yeah. So for me, just being a BNI alumni as well, we make great connections in that space. And so, the prior sales manager was currently or was in my group, and she was taking on another position. And she said, "Listen, I've known you for the last couple of years. I think you really be a great fit with the company and this particular role. Would you take it?" And so I had a conversation with the owner as well, which was also in the BNI group before, and it was just a great fit, man. It was really nice to see, work with like-minded people that had the same values and morals as I did, and sort of that same ethical judgment. And so it was really just a no-brainer from there.
Well, and we talk a little bit about BNI here. We talk about like that philosophy of, for those of you who don't know, givers gain, right? Like those who give, are going to gain further on down the line. And that is especially true in the restoration business where there are a lot of kind of fly-by-night companies. We talked about
Yeah.
indie shops versus the franchise shops. And before we get into that, though, I wanted to ask you, like, hey, why was it that restoration was so, I guess, kind of intriguing to you? And I know that there's not a perfect answer there, but it sounded to me like it was about, your personality, getting to know who Michael is as the sales and marketing manager, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's the restoration company or industry is not sexy, right? And
Right.
it's probably not one that most folks would think of joining and being a part of. But for me, joining was, like I said, it was just the people that I was introduced to, but also to my history of being, in sales and educating folks and customer service. It just led me to that area. I'm a service guy at heart. I was in the military for 4 years, and so it was kind of a great fit. I love advising people on their options, especially when they, are faced with situations in which they're kind of out of that normality, right? There's kind of that unique decision of, emergency cases in that sense, or it has to do with money or finances. And so again, it was just a great fit. And I'm glad I made it.
Yeah, and before we get into the answering of the difference maker between Gateway and other businesses, I want to ask about some of those instances that you see people dealing with when they call Gateway. In your experience, what's that average phone call kind of look like when they come into your business?
Yeah, so I would say down here in Arizona, it's very very dry outside, right? And so a lot of our calls are coming in the form of water damage to their home or their office. And so there's calls in which folks turn on their sinks. They maybe have the deep farm sinks, and maybe they get distracted with their kids, and next thing you know, a couple minutes have gone by, and they flooded out their entire living room, right? Or maybe they have kids, and the kids are putting toys or stuffing things in the toilet, and that's clogging it. It's causing it to overflow. And so those are the majority of the calls that we're getting. Water heaters are bursting, things of that nature. And so yeah, we're responding to those calls less than an hour. We're on site, and we're taking care. We're helping mitigate that problem, and then getting that person or couple back to likewise condition.
Right. You guys are on site. It is on site when you call Gateway. I love that.
For sure.
That's great. I mean, like, it's quick response. Restoration, like, time is so wrapped up in money when it comes to restoration, right? Like, the more that you wait on an issue, if it's like, welling up in your floorboards or up in your ceiling or in your walls or whatever it is, it's only going to get worse if you're just waiting on it. Timeliness is important. So that's where I wanted to leave it with you. I wanted to ask, like, hey, why would somebody want to call Gateway over these other shops that are out there, whether it's the independent guys, whether it's the franchises? To you, you talked about people when we were discussing this earlier.
Yeah.
Kind of elaborate on why that is for Gateway.
Yeah, I think that when someone is faced with an emergency situation, or maybe just an unknown situation in which they've never been in before, the first thing that people think of, at least in my mind, is I think of who can I call, who can I that will guide me in the right direction, that I can trust, that I know will give me the honest option and opinion, right? Instead of just someone who will come out here and just do the job and don't really care about my needs, don't really care about my financial situation, don't really care about anything other than the value that problem can bring to their company. And so for us, it's really about being ethical. It's about being honest. It's about being altruistic with our clients and those that we work with, saying, hey, you may have a $5,000 deductible on your home, and this job is only going to cost you, it's going to cost you $1,200. You probably don't want to submit a claim, right? Most restoration companies aren't doing that, right? They're going and just getting the max that they can out of each job, but we're there to help people. So long story short, we're just there to give people the right advice at the right time, so that way they can make the best decision for themselves and their family. And again, there's enough business to go around. There's enough opportunities for us to, obviously we're in business to make money, so there's enough opportunity for us to do that, and we don't have to take shortcuts.
I really like that, man. I mean, like, if that's not a huge signal to want to give business to Gateway over anybody else, the next time something bad happens at my house or your house, if you're out there watching, I mean, like, that makes a lot of sense. That makes me feel cleaner about going and calling you guys and creating a relationship with you, Mike. So,
Absolutely.
thanks for telling us that, man. That's kind. And of course, it aligns with that BNI kind of spirit, that giver's gain spirit. I love that. Before we wrap up here, Mike, tell us where folks out there can get in touch with you guys. Obviously, the business is Gateway Restoration in Mesa, Arizona, serving the whole Phoenix Valley. But how can they get in touch with your company? Where can they find you guys?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a Facebook page, Gateway Restoration. We also have a Instagram page, same name as well. So if you're on social media, you can certainly tap in with us there. And if you're local here in the Arizona market, you can find us at pretty much every networking event or even other BNI events. And then the best way to get a hold of us is just to give us a call. And so my phone number, if I'm okay to share that, is 480-640-3715. And so you'll get in contact with me, and we can take it from there.
Beautiful. And of course, everything that Michael just said, folks, is going to be in the description of the video, as it always is. So give Michael a call if you are out there in the Phoenix Valley, if you're dealing with something like a water damage emergency, if you're a property management business, an HOA, a plumber, an insurance agent, anybody who touches an issue with a home or business, you should be talking to Michael Benton at Gateway Restoration first. Mike, you have been such a fantastic guest, man, and I hate to finish up here with you, but that's about all the time we have. I really, truly appreciate you coming on the show and sharing some time here with us on Know Your Pros, man.
Hey, Andrew, like I said, I really do appreciate the opportunity that you've given myself and Gateway. And like I said, thanks to you and Opal Eye for having us.
You got it, brother. I'll be talking to you soon, and be sure to stay dry out there, Mike. Thanks again, man.
Thank you.